stay. I'm here to stay.
After a long trip last weekend, Charlton TV is back in the comfy, warm surroundings of the cosy studio. On the pitch, you have to say, we've enjoyed the home comforts here at the Valley so far in this campaign. Let's hope we'll be saying the same thing come 5 o'clock this afternoon. Oxford United are the opponents today, of course, led by our former boss, Carl Robinson. His side recorded an emphatic victory here earlier in the year, and we'll be looking to avenge that today. As ever, lots to come ahead of kick-off here on Charlton TV. We'll hear exclusively from manager Ben Garner, who sat down with commentator Terry Smith yesterday morning to preview today's game. We'll speak to fan advisor Lucy Bishop, who, amazingly, will be running the London Marathon tomorrow. She spoke to Charlotte Richardson, pitchside, a little earlier. And we'll also hear from fullback Manny Egbo, who has had a frustrating first few months at the club, but made his first start last weekend at Barnsley. Delighted to say Curbs is alongside me. How are you, Curbs? You recovered last week from the grandkids?
Absolutely.
That's the only reason you didn't make it?
I'll tell you, halfway through the afternoon, I wish I'd got on that train to Barnsley, let me tell you.
You were texting me, how's it going? And I did get the feeling it's like you'd rather be with us up in Barnsley than looking after the grandkids. And we had a decent round of golf Tuesday as well, didn't we? Brownie was gutted his knees.
You did. That's why he's brought it up. He did.
He did.
No, he did.
Yeah, well, OK, you just about heard the voice. You may have seen a little bit of this man. Delighted to have Curbs. We're also delighted to have this guy.
Still Mortimer might go all the way. He has! Oh, that's a fabulous goal from Mortimer. Mortimer!
When Paul Mortimer scores, it always tends to be a special occasion and a special goal. Paul Mortimer's free kick made it 2. Celebrations were short-lived though. Charlton were in the mood this afternoon. And look at this from Paul Mortimer, truly one of the best Mortimer's scored in his career.
We are delighted to say it is Paul Mortimer, of course, and Morts, I have to say, and we keep on saying this as well, I mean, you've got so many cracking goals, to put it down into sort of a 40-second piece is almost impossible. You did say with the header, though, didn't you? Couldn't miss that one.
Couldn't miss that one. I mean, they're great memories. I have to say, they're wonderful memories. You get slightly embarrassed sometimes when I watch them. I do, but it kind of feels a little bit weird, actually, you know, but they're great times, and that's what I remember. They're wonderful times.
Does it feel like it's someone else? It kind of does when I look back at...
Okay. No, it's
you
me.
Remember it very well.
Well, I went through some stuff to be able to do that, but yes, I mean, I remember more than anything, the goals, but the times. They were wonderful times, and I really enjoyed them. And a lot of it was, you know, because of this guy to my left who looked after me well. So, yeah, I mean, it's wonderful times.
Yeah, now you're getting him embarrassed. They're getting two people embarrassed in the studio here. Look, I mean, it's great to have you back on. It's your first Charlton TV appearance of the season. A lot's changed, both in the dugout and on the pitch as well.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a lot of us, but what have you made from afar?
Well, I always thought it was going to be slightly difficult because a new manager's come in, success at a division below, new ethos, new mindset, and there was a sort of a lot of, you know, fanfare about how we were going to play and all of that. And you really just want to come in under the radar, really, because, you know, if it doesn't start well, then all of a sudden there's the pressure of expectations there. And that's where we are at the moment. I mean, they've drawn too many games. Half the games they've drawn.
Can you come in under the radar at a club like Charlton in League One?
Well, as long as people don't, you know, expect or talk about the expectations, you know, if you're just left alone to get on with it, because when a new manager comes in, brings in 7 or 8 signings, it takes a bit of time, and Curbs will tell you, it takes a little bit of time to just get everything gelled. So you could go the first 10 or 15 games and still not be quite sure. But because of the expectation, there's a huge amount of pressure whenever they play. So, for example, today's game is a huge game. You know, Oxford are below us, but it's a game we really do have to win. So this pressure of expectation is there because of the fanfare at the start.
Yeah, Morts sort of says it perfectly, really. We were up against a side that we expecting to be top 6 at least at the start of the season, not doing well. We're obviously hoping to be top 6, were at the start of the season, certainly, as well. This is a big game for both, isn't it?
Well, Oxford are in a similar position to us, aren't they? Not so much, I think, expectation levels, but, you know, you look back sometimes on a season and you look at some games and go, that was a pivotal game. And I think this is one today. if we get the result, we might look back and say, in 4 or 5 months' time, cool, that game was a turning point. And it can go the other way as well today. If we get done, you may be looking 3 or 4 months' time saying, oh, that was the day that we really thought we're in a bit of trouble. So we've got to get the result. It's as simple as that. The boys are going to have to play under a bit of pressure, obviously. I'm not expecting too many fans here because of the trouble out there, you know, the traffic and the train strike and etc. But whoever's here has got to get behind the team, and we've got to get the result.
What do you make of the difference between the home form, or certainly results anyway, the home results and the away results? And do we go into this game then thinking, actually, thank goodness we're at home, or are we relying too much on the home form? If
this is a pivotal game, I'm glad we're playing at home. I've been saying all season, I know Brownie has a different view on it, but I've been saying all season about the lack of goals. And certainly, if you take that 5 against Plymouth out of the equation, because I think that was just a one-off, then we're always putting ourselves under pressure because we're not scoring enough goals. And we let one in, you get the feeling, oh, we're not going to win this, or the best we're going to do is a draw. I've been saying since we've ever been doing this, you've got to take majority of points here. If you're going to get in the playoffs or you're going to get promotion, you've got to win a majority of games here. And at the moment, we are doing better here than away from home. So this is a massive game for us. You go along with that, Morts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about today is it's such a huge game. You often get those games that are not about the performance. This is one of those. It's just about the result. We just have to get over the line, whichever way it works. And sometimes, you know, they're just slightly out of sync. And sometimes you just need the ball to go off someone's backside, or just a little, an own goal, or just a little bit of luck for that belief to click in. Because they're getting into good positions, and the final ball or the final touch, all of that isn't quite good enough. And you just need one thing to happen sometimes for that belief to grow, and then we get going.
It's early on in the season, but you do need brave players today. There's not going to be a big crowd, so you're going to hear every ooh and ah, as you boys know. And, you know, so it's going to be brave players today. I don't know what the side is, but whoever goes out there to start with, they've got to put their foot on the ball and be confident and play it to people, even if they think they're marked. You know, give it to them and let them deal with it, as opposed to and the chance is gone.
We'll come on to the team in just a second. Just the ball coming off someone's backside. We need Alex Dyer playing then, don't we?
we do. That happens very much. Yeah, we do.
Where is Spoon anyway? Where is
we need
Spoon
to get him on actually, don't we? Sometimes.
Don't ask why we call him Spoon.
It's Tim Witherspoon, isn't it? That's why. Kick off here at the Valley. Less than 45 minutes away. Let's get cracking, shall we? Hear from the gaffer Ben Garner, who spoke to Terry Smith yesterday.
As we enter October, how would you assess the first couple of months of the season?
I think we've made a lot of progress in a lot of areas and put a lot of principles across that we want, and we're trying to change sort of the environment here and then the culture that we want. There's been a lot of good progress made. There's still an enormous amount to do. There's still lots of improvements to make at this football club, and for us to constantly try to get better. And on the pitch, I think we should have a bigger return than what we've got in terms of points. That's obviously a big disappointment. We've drawn too many games we should have won, and we've lost 1 or 2 when we shouldn't have done. So, yeah, good progress overall, but we need to marry that up with better results and make sure that our points return is in line with where it should be.
And with that, how much more do you know about your players now compared to what you knew ahead of the opening game against Accrington?
Yeah, huge amounts. You know, huge amounts. You're learning every day. I've seen the group now in good times and positive times. I've seen them through some tougher times now, and when we've had disappointments and setbacks, and constantly speaking to them and getting to know them better. You know, the more we're on the training ground, the more we're around the training ground in the canteen and lunch and breakfast and travelling and in the hotel, etc. You get to see them, you get to speak to them, you get to know them better. And for me, that's an important part of the job. I want to know each player and understand them, and not just what motivates them, but what's important to them in their life, and how we make them better and how we make the group better.
You mentioned just now there have been plenty of positives. Plenty of positive signs in our opening 10 league games so far. You said it yourself, we need to turn these positives into results. $6 million question. How do we go about doing that?
Hard work. You know, there's no shortcut. There's no quick fix. You know, it's not a magic wand. It's hard work, and the harder you work, the quicker things will turn around and improve and get to where we want them to be. So I'm really confident we can do that. We want to obviously win tomorrow. That's the first port of call, and then looking ahead, I'm really confident that we can be successful and get this great football club back where it should be. You know, if I'm given the time and opportunity to do that, then I'm really confident I can get this club back into the Championship, where for me is the minimum level it should be, and we can really push it forward.
Oxford to come on Saturday. A team who you could say are in a similar situation to ourselves in that they'd hope to be higher in the table at this stage. What are you expecting from them?
A difficult game. I think looking at their games, Cole's probably had a couple of games like me where he must have been coming away scratching his head and wondering how they've lost it, because they've been much the better side in 3 or 4 of the games I've watched and have come away with either a draw or a defeat. So lots of talented players within their squad. You know, they've been at the top end of this division consistently for 2 or 3 seasons and have pushed for promotion, and I'm sure that's still their aim. They're very good with the ball. They've got good movement and good rotation, particularly in midfield. They've played a variety of shapes this season. They've played a back 4, been recently playing a back 3. But I also think there's really key areas where we can hurt them, and defensively I think there's areas that we can look to expose in their team. And if we're good with the ball and just get that bit right in the penalty area in that final finish, then yeah, there's certainly areas that we can hurt them and win the game.
Yeah, we at Charlton know all about Cole Robinson and the brand of football he likes his teams to play. Should our style against theirs make for an exciting game?
Hopefully it's a good game to watch, but hopefully it's a game that we win. You know, that's our only focus going into tomorrow. Is we want the 3 points. You know, we want to get winning games. Yes, there's lots of positives and there's lots of positive signs. You know, looking at our performance metrics this week, we're in the top 3, top 5 for a lot of really key metrics that normally would see you winning games, and that isn't quite happening. We need to make sure that we don't lose sight of that. We keep doing the good things, but we just tighten up on 1 or 2 areas. We improve in 1 or 2 areas and get the points that our play should warrant.
Finally, we had a couple of tricky tests on the road of late. How important is it we remember how good we've been at home ahead of Saturday's game?
Yeah, really important. Looking ahead, we've got 5 out of the next 7 league games at home. So that's a great opportunity to put huge momentum into our season. And we're unbeaten at home. We've had some really good results and really strong performances. Even the 2 draws we've had in the league, you know, we're dominant in both games. We should win both. And that's a positive sign. You know, no one's coming here and outplaying us. No one's giving us huge amounts of problems. It's just moments in games that we need to tidy up on. And we want to make this such a difficult place to come at the Valley. So looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully a good crowd, hopefully a great atmosphere, and 3 points will really give us the boost that we need. And I'm confident that we can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and so he should be playing at home as well. Unbeaten so far here in the Valley. Let's have a look at the team then, shall we? 4 changes, and we think a change of system as well. Joe Wallacott back in after international duty. Ryan Innes is also back. He was an unused sub at Barnsley following suspension. Jack Payne starts after coming off the bench and scoring at Barnsley. Stephen Sessegnon makes his first start following an injury. So that means that McGillivray, Morgan, Clare and Corey Blackett-Taylor are all out. First of all, Curbs, what do you make of the change of system?
Well, it's an interesting one. Payne, whenever he's come on or started, has done well. So perhaps he got the goal last week, deserves a start. It's interesting because some of the players that have been playing are not even on the bench. So has it been forced because of the injuries? Obviously, we get Ben. He gave his interview yesterday. We're not quite sure. We don't really know why. But in saying that, that gives us a little bit of licence to get some players in the box, I think. And the 2 wing backs, or the 2 like Sessegnon and Egbo, I expect really to bomb on today.
Yeah. There's certainly good athletes as well as decent footballers as well. Morse, what do you think of the 3-4-3, and also the fact that Ben, we think if it is this system as well, has changed from his preferred system to this?
Well, that's always a concern for me. And in doing my bit of research over the last 4 or 5 games, the system's changed 2 or 3 times. And often when the system changes, the personnel change. So as players, you're in the side, then you're out. You're in the side, then you're out. There is an inconsistency about it all, which means that you know what players need is a consistent run of form in the same position to be able to perform. And these changes, what they mean, what they tell you is, does he know he's his preferred 11. Again, Curb spoke about injuries. Maybe they come into play. But what you should know is the system that you want the players to play, and those things should be nailed down. Yes, you do adapt your system every now and again, but if the three of us became managers, we know how we want to play, and if you change it as often as that, that's a problem.
In fairness to him, in terms of the system, he has always tried to go 4-3-3 at the start of a game anyway. But it's no wins in 6 now, isn't it? So at what point do you change things, or do you say, look, we still got to try and sometimes making a decision is the best decision by not making a decision? If
he's probably changed the shape to suit the players that are available. But Mort's talking about consistency. I've always said, what comes first? Consistent results, consistent team selection, or the other way round. Either way, you've got to have both to be successful. So I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, now I've looked at it a little bit more. Is it Rasaki up there with Stockley and Payne going in behind them? So we've got 2 strikers. Because the problem, as I've said, I think the problem is where the goals are coming from, and as soon as you let one in, you think, oh, here we go again. So where the goals coming from? Is it going to be from Rasaki, Stockley, Payne, and Fraser? They're the ones who you expect to get the goals for you. So, is it slightly different to that? Is Payne going to go in behind Stockley, or is Rasaki going to play up there with him, and it's 3-5-2?
I would imagine Jack Payne will come in at times, whereas Rasaki is more
Rasaki
a wide player.
As a striker.
We'll find out in less than half an hour. Let's move it on to look at the league table now, shall we? And we start with the bottom half, because that's where we are. Last weekend's defeat at Barnsley saw us drop 2 places to 16th. A win, though, could see us return to the top half. The bottom 4 remained unchanged, with each of those teams losing last Saturday, while Accrington jumped 4 places up to 13th with a 1-0 win at Bristol Rovers. Into the top half now, and we have new league leaders in Plymouth Argyle. Came from behind to earn a very good 2-1 victory at home to Ipswich in front of the Sky Sports cameras on Sunday, ending the latter's unbeaten run. That result means Portsmouth are the only unbeaten side in the division now. Elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley both climbed 1 place to 3rd and 5th respectively, while Exeter jumped 5 places to 10th with an emphatic 4-0 victory at Forest Green. And Curbs, Plymouth, since our 5-1 win over them, they've claimed 16 points out of 18, boast 100% home records, and have already faced several big hitters as well. That's serious form, isn't it?
It is. And, I did manage to see Exeter against Forest Green. I watched a bit of that, or most of that. And they looked a really good side, Exeter.
Did the grandkids watch it as well?
No, I forced Fred to watch it. He wasn't happy. But no, it's taking shape, isn't it? The top of that. And, we go on, and quite rightly so, about the big clubs in this league. Well, just look at them. Plymouth in their own right are a big club. Yeah. The stadium and the fan base. Ipswich we know, Portsmouth we know, Sheffield Wednesday we know, Barnsley just come down, Bolton we know. Look at it. And it goes on and on and on. This is a really tough league.
Curbs makes what he said there about starting to take shape. Yeah. What point does it take shape for you? What do you make of them? Pretty much everyone's played 10 games or close to.
Yeah. Well, the reason why it takes shape is because the usual suspects are where you expected them to be, apart from us, I'd say. And now we're looking at it, and I was talking to my son about it the other day. My son was saying, we're 3 points off, 21st. That's the reality of it. So
is that where you're looking at the moment, over our shoulder rather than up?
Well, we have to. If we're not performing, and what is it? We haven't won in the last 3 or 4. Then we have to look over our shoulders. We can't look up until we get to the point where we're winning games consistently. And we're not at the moment. So it starts today. That's why this game is one of those. As Curb said, you take in isolation. We've got to, by hook or by crook, get 3 points today, get across the line, so we can start looking up rather than over our shoulders.
OK, a full fixture list in Sky Bet League One today. Let's have a look at them. Lincoln, who we take on away from home next weekend, face Bolton. Big game at the bottom as Burton and Forest Green go toe-to-toe. Paul Warne oversees his first match as Derby boss. I wish him all the very best. Someone I know well as the Rams play Cambridge at the Abbey Stadium. Standout game undoubtedly comes from Portman Road as second place Ipswich hosts third place Portsmouth, and table toppers Plymouth travel to Wickham. Curbs, what did you make of Paul Warne's decision to drop down a division Joined Derby from Rotherham, are currently 8th in the Championship, but he signed a 4-year contract at Pride Park.
Because of potential. That's the simple thing about it. No disrespect.
Potential, but it's potential versus jeopardy in terms of
and
he was safe.
Yeah, but I think, you know, Derby, you know, if you can get that going, you know yourself that, you know, that fan base is 30-odd thousand the last home game. I mean, it's quite incredible.
I think also you'd have had reassurances. I mean, you know yourself, Gubs, as a manager, he's not going to sign for 4 years if there aren't reassurances of resources that's going to enable him to be able to push that team forward.
OK, let's take a break from today, shall we, and talk about club news updates, and we will start with ticketing news. Fans are reminded that they can make a saving on the price of home match tickets by investing in our Addicts 3-pack. The pack enables you to make one purchase and then select 3 home league fixtures that you'd like to attend between now and Boxing Day. You don't have to select all 3 matches at the time of purchase. You can choose your games as and when you want to. And what's more, you will save £10 on the cost of purchasing 3 individual tickets. To get your Addicts 3-pack, please head to booking.cafc.co.uk. Now, supporters who reside outside of the UK and Ireland are reminded that they can buy a subscription for Charlton TV for just £220 per year or £35 per month recurring. That subscription will allow you to watch every men's first team league game and Papa John's trophy fixture live, as well as a host of other matches from our under-21s, under-18s and women's sides as well. The cost per match of the annual subscription breaks down to less than £5 per game, which is based on you only watching the men's first team league matches, so well worth it. Head to cafc.co.uk to get yours. Well, Tuesday's trip to Colchester will be available to watch live anywhere in the world on Charlton TV, as per EFL broadcasting rules. The rules state that we can live stream midweek league and Papa John's trophy fixtures globally, so we look forward to having a bigger audience than normal for that game. A live stream match pass is priced at just a tenner, and you can get yours now by heading to cafc.co.uk. We will be providing match-only coverage for that game. Remember, if you reside overseas and you watch games regularly, then you can make a big saving by getting a subscription. Now, Hamza Sarar's under-21s returned to winning ways on Tuesday afternoon by winning away at Watford. After a goalless first half, the Addicts broke the deadlock 12 minutes in time when, who else? Daniel Kanu netted from close range. On 85 minutes, just 7 minutes after the opener, they then doubled their lead when Jason Adigan was fouled inside the penalty area. And Aaron Henry dispatched the penalty. That is how the scoring stayed. The under-21s are back in action on Monday when they welcome QPR to the Valley, and fans will be able to watch that game live on Charlton TV. Nice and cool, Aaron. Well, look, we say it every week now, but we'd like to encourage everyone to get involved with us on the WhatsApp. It's been great to interact with fans so far this season, so if you have a question for Curbs, Morts or myself here in the studio, then please send it in. The number you need is currently on screen, and it is 07384 517 580. The Charlton women's side made its successive away victories in the Barclays Women's Championship on Sunday by winning at Sunderland in dramatic fashion. After falling behind in the first half, the Addicts levelled through Ella Rutherford's powerful header from a corner. They then equalised for a second time through Kira Skills' deflected strike. Keeper wrong-footed. Before, in stoppage time, Alicia Dow rose highest in the penalty area to head home Beth Rowe's pinpoint cross. They've now won 3 of the opening 4 league games and will hope to continue their good form when they face Lewis in the Continental Cup tomorrow. We wish Karen Hills and her side the very best of luck. And finally, all supporters are invited to attend the first of our 30 years back at the Valley celebrations events on Friday, October the 21st. 2022 also marks the 10th anniversary of the founding of Charlton Athletic Supporters Trust, and they, in conjunction with the Charlton Athletic Museum, are hosting a special occasion at the Valley that will see them celebrate the people who made them return to SE7 possible. Come and join us to salute the campaigners, journalists, candidates, directors and players who toiled and sweated to bring us that perfect day 30 years ago. Tickets are priced at just £10 each, and you can get yours now by going to booking.cafc.co.uk. Right, all of the club's home weekend match days are themed here at the Valley, and today it is eSports Day. I'm delighted to say that we have 2 copies of the new FIFA 23 game to give away here on Charlton TV. What's more, the 2 copies, which are for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series 1, have been signed by the Charlton squad. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is purchase a Charlton TV match pass or subscription between now and Wednesday, October the 12th. If you are already an annual or monthly subscriber, then don't worry, you will be automatically entered into the draw as well. And a separate competition for fans to attend matches in person will also be running soon too. So everyone has a chance to the win. And here are the 2 copies. We'll leave them here for now. Curbs, Morts, have you got younger family members who spend a bit of time on their game consoles? Or Curbs, are you still on it now with your grandkids?
I've never played it before.
Yeah,
my children do, yeah. My boy does, and grandkids do, yeah.
Actually, we're trying to ban the grandkids from picking phones up and just going like that at the moment, in our house anyway.
Don't get them involved.
I've got one that's glued to his phone.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
once they start, that's it. Anyway, we're so not down with the kids here. Us 3 anyway. OK, right, Charlton appointed fan advisor last week with Lewis Katz joining to support Lucy Bishop. Lucy is also running in the London Marathon tomorrow morning. We wish her all the very best. And she spoke to Charlotte Richardson a little bit earlier.
Thank you, Scott. I am delighted to be joined pitchside by fan advisor Lucy Bishop. Lucy, a warm welcome to Charlton TV. It's been a very busy start to the season for you. Can you tell us what you've been up to?
It has been busy, yes. Obviously, we've had sort of the general ad hoc fan queries that we've been dealing with, but I've been getting involved in a couple of more longer term projects. So around March this year I started working with Tasha Everett on the Her Game 2 initiative, and really pleased to say that Charlton is now an official partner of Her Game 2, and Tasha's really driven that forward and really got things moving there. We have regular meetings, focus groups, and there are exciting things to come on Her Game 2. Also been working with Steve Sutherland, who I know you've spoken to recently, and a few other people around the club and the Community Trust on the 30th anniversary of the Back to the Valley celebrations. There's a really packed schedule of events planned for that. And for me, it was just really important to make sure that there was something for everyone, something for fans to get involved in, a range of price points, a range of locations, evening events, daytime events, weekend events, black tie events, Q&As, all of that sort of thing. So we've been working through that. It's a work in progress. There will be more information in due course on that as well. But I think the key date for people to look out for is the kick-off Q&A on the 21st of October, when we've got people like Rick Everett, and people involved in the original Back to the Valley movement will be here answering questions and talking through that time 30 odd years ago.
Very, very busy schedule indeed. Recently, Lewis Cat, lifelong addict, has joined you as another fan advisor. Can you tell us how important it is to be able to recruit Lewis and how he will be supporting you in the work that you do?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, it's been really brilliant to have Lewis on board. The call went out a couple of months ago for the additional fan advisor. The response was overwhelming. There's obviously a lot of very passionate and knowledgeable fans at Charlton, and possibly in the future we'll be involving more and more fans. But in the short term going forward, Lewis is on board. He's really hit the ground running. He's looking very closely at ticketing for next season. He's done some research for Thomas, the owner, on pricing and things like that, and he's really picked up the reins with that. We're also going to look at the existing communication structures between the club and the fans and see if and where things need to be improved. So we have regular fans forums, we have Q&A events, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to make sure that these things are useful and beneficial. We don't want them to sort of fall into becoming a tick box exercise or anything like that. We want fans to get real value out of them. So we'll be looking at that in the coming months.
That's really interesting to hear. Now, if you weren't busy enough, you've also been training for the London Marathon, a massive date for you tomorrow, taking part in that. Tell us how those preparations have been going.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, so I'll be taking on the 26.2 tomorrow, starting just up the road in Blackheath. Been training for about 4 months. It was going well up until about 6 weeks ago, and I aggravated an old knee injury, but I've got up to 16 miles, so if I can find an extra 10 somehow tomorrow, then hopefully I'll get through and complete my first probably last marathon.
And Lucy, which charity are you running for?
So I'll be running for St Christopher's Hospice. They're based in South East London, in Bromley and in Lewisham, and they provide sort of end-of-life care for people in those areas and across South London that need support, and really do a lot to look after families as well of people in that position.
A really amazing cause. Where can the Charlton family go to support you and to sponsor you ahead of tomorrow?
Well, first and foremost, in terms of support, if anyone's thinking of coming out and lining the streets tomorrow in the local area or in central London, a shout would be much appreciated. I'll be wearing a blue St Christopher's top. It'll have my name on it, so give me a shout. And, you know, I know times are tough, but any spare pennies or pounds that anyone's got and they would like to donate, I'd be really appreciative. I have a Just Giving link. If people go onto the Just Giving site and search Lucy Bishop 87, they'll find me, and I'll pop a link to that on Twitter as well.
Brilliant. Well, Lucy, best of luck tomorrow, and thank you so much for joining us on Charlton TV this afternoon.
Thanks, Charlotte. It's a pleasure.
Back over to you, Scott.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yes, the very best of luck there, Lucy, tomorrow. Would also like to wish our former academy player James Barker the very best of luck in the marathon. James, who is still friends with academy teammate Sean Clare, is currently undergoing chemotherapy for a brain tumour. But despite that, he will be running the 26 miles. Well done, James, and we wish you all the very best, not just for tomorrow, but going forward as well. OK, the first team squad were at the Valley on Thursday for the annual squad photo. Curbs, on the photo call, did you like these type of things or just a bit of a nuisance?
I used to like it, but I used to say to the photographer, set them all up, then get me out, right? Because you know what players are like. You can see this and see that. And I remember there was a famous photo with Robbo going like that, right? And it ended up getting pumped like they've done it, and we had to come back out a couple of days later and do it again.
No.
All because Robbo stuck his fingers out and was going like that to someone.
There's always one, isn't there?
There's always one.
But anyway,
Robbo.
It was normally Robbo, but they did it well in the end, I have to say. Look, after they finished, they headed... That looks nice, doesn't it? They headed their way up to the Charlton Athletic Museum.
Really enjoyable afternoon. I thought it was important for the players to understand the current position they're in. They're sort of the incumbents of the history and traditions of this club, and also going to pass that on to future generations. So just felt it was important to understand that and feel it, and the guys here have hosted us really well and given us a great insight, and you can feel their passion, and hopefully that will have sunk in with the players and will help them understand what they represent at this great football club.
Really pleased to show off what we've done, give them an idea what the history of the club is about, and the badge that they represent, what it means and what it means to fans.
The fans are the heartbeat of the club. They're the ones that remain. They're the ones that will always be here to support, whether they're, the ups and downs that every club has. At the moment, we need to create that bond between us, the fans. Everyone be on the same page. Everyone be relatable. Everyone be honest about where we are, and also to go out and give a good account of ourselves. Because us as a team, us as a club, we're trying to create a culture here that we can be, as one, as a club, definitely.
They come spend their hard-earned money every weekend to come watch us, and for us to know what it means to them gives us every reason to go out and put in a performance with maximal effort, so it was good. It's very good.
Foundation of the club, the fact it comes from a group of boys playing in the streets, about back to the Valley, about the 1930s and the great Jimmy Seed team, and the Premiership years as well. But we thought they were the key areas.
Should motivate the boys seeing something like this. It's good to get down, especially with a home game coming up. I think it should put a fire in some of the lads' bellies to go out there and give them that added motivation.
And someone else was asking me, why did we leave the Valley? So it was really nice to explain to Terrell, I think it was, why we left and why that's so important as part of the club's history. Hopefully it means something to them and gives them a little bit of extra idea of what it means to be a Charlton player.
Yes, no,
nice to know how much my dad meant to the club and the fans, and to see like his legacy, and hopefully, as I said, I can follow it up a bit.
This group of players, this group of staff, we write the next chapter of the football club, and we're passing on that torch, if you like. So there's a lot that needs to improve and change at this football club, and we need to do that, and we're working hard to do that. And we want to pass it on and leave it in a better place when we all move on.
Well, I think Jayden's shirt should be put in a museum there, don't you? But Morse, as a player, how important is it that the club that you're representing, you understand the history of that club?
Hugely important. I think you need to understand what you're fighting for. And the history of this club, this is a unique club. The history of this club is hugely important to the players, and they must understand it.
And we know what happened, went away in '85, came back in '92. I feel proud that I was part of that team in '92. So with the 30th anniversary of the return being this year, how important is it that every current Charlton player knows about the history?
Absolutely. I think that we keep hearing how big the club is, how big it is, and etc., etc. But I think it's nice for them to see what had to be done to get the club back here, and you know, and I hope they understood and you know, and value what the club's about.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Just before we move on, we should say that if you'd like to visit the Charlton Museum here at the Valley, then you can every Friday between 11 a.m. and 2:30 p.m, as well as home match days between 11 and 1. OK, back to on-the-pitch matters now, and Mandela Egbo made his first start for the club up at Barnsley last week, and he spoke to Charlton TV earlier this week to talk about today's game.
Manny, fair to say, a frustrating start to your Charlton career, but in the last couple of weeks you've been back out on the pitch and back in action. You must be so pleased to be wearing the Charlton shirt for the first couple of times.
Yeah, 100%. I'm happy to be back out with the lads. It's like an honour to be able to chuck the shirt on. So yeah, happy to be out on the pitch, but I'm a bit unfortunate we haven't quite got a win yet since I've been out there. But it's positive to take from both games that I've played in, and obviously for myself personally, it's been more just getting back fit and getting the minutes in my legs, and hopefully I can start to provide more, you know, impetus going forward, assists, maybe the odd goal here and there, and hoping to help the team win games instead of just, you know, the draws.
And how would you put the last sort of 2 or 3 months into words? Because it's obviously massively frustrating for any player to get injured at any time, let alone in pre-season, but when you're a new player as well, just how tough was that for you?
Yeah, especially at the start when, well, the first finding out how long I'd be out for was a shock to the system, because I honestly didn't think it would be that amount of weeks. But then realising very quickly that I'd be able to cut that down with some positive thinking and hard work, and being able to do that, it was like there was always a silver lining. So got them weeks right down, and yeah, I'm just buzzing to be back out there now. Like I said, the medical staff here were a bit more worried than I was. Luckily, they had me in a brace early doors. They had me non-weight bearing early doors. So I think all them little things that we did early on helped aid the speed of the recovery, and you know, went down from maybe being 12 to 15 weeks to just being at 8, which is a credit to them, credit to myself as well, and I think to a load of the, you know, the behind-the-scenes stuff that I do. With the amount of people that I see outside of here as well, you know, the physios, the osteopaths, chiropractors, masseurs, strength and conditioning people, you know, there's a big team behind the scenes, so thankful to all of them for helping me get back out there ASAP.
Were you sort of in a way, obviously you have the disappointment of being injured, but were you sort of relishing that rehab and getting yourself back into peak condition?
It would be silly to say that I enjoyed the rehab, but I knew that positivity was the only thing that was going to help me get back ASAP. I'd put in so much in the off-season to come back above the level, and then obviously at the start I kind of thought that was all for nothing, but then I was concentrated on getting back to not just match fit, but match fit and beyond, to, you know, to excel, because it's all good being on the pitch, but I'm not just trying to be on the pitch, I'm trying to be on the pitch and be better than, you know, my left wing or my left back, whatever it might be that I'm coming up against. So to do that I had to work hard, and I did, and I think it's paid off. I feel sharp out there. So
you got that debut obviously at Fleetwood, came on at 1-0 down after a disappointing first half from the team, I think it's fair to say. Got back in the game. At 1-0, we hit the inside of the post. How pleasing was it for you just to be out?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was seeing the keeper off his line and then going to dink him. Obviously, it's disappointing that I didn't land in. And of course, it was a shot, not a cross. Yeah, no, but it was, like you said, pleasing just to get back out there. Good to get 45 minutes in the legs, and I think that stood me in good stead for the Barnsley game in terms of minutes. Unfortunately, it didn't quite go the way we wanted, but there's been positives. And obviously we'll take them positives, of course, but I think it's also important to understand where we need to improve. And like I think it's been said by the gaffer and by ourselves in the change room, it's no secret that between the boxes we're doing very well, but it's just, you know, in the boxes, both sides of it at the minute, that something needs to click. As soon as those things click, which they will, because we're putting a lot of time in on the training pitch, then I'm sure we'll come good.
And Oxford to come on Saturday, they're a couple of places below us at the moment, a side a bit like us who probably expected to be higher up than what they are at the moment. What are we expecting from them?
We're expecting a tough game. We know how much a good side they are, with a young manager who plays attractive style of football. So I mean, it's very similar to us in a way. And like you say, they expect to be much higher up the league, so they'll be having something to come and fight for. But of course, we'll be doing everything we can to ensure that our style of play counteracts theirs and we can get the 3 points.
And just lastly, your 2 appearances so far have come away from home. How much are you looking forward to getting out at the Valley and tasting the atmosphere?
Yeah, obviously, I've seen the fans and the atmosphere from behind the scenes and been up there with them actually watching the games over the past couple of months. But of course, I'm excited to finally be able to pull the shirt on and finally pull a red shirt on and get out there in front of the covered end and hopefully give them something to scream and shout about and keep the 3 points at the Valley.
Well, first of all, I think he talks really well, and he's had a very kind of rounded career, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was reading the programme. I think he's been to New York Red Bullers and he's been in Germany. So he's, as well as Swindon, he's experienced a lot of different environments. So hopefully he'll come here and he'll take to it.
Yeah. You saw him in, the second half of the Fleetwood game? He came on, made a big difference, didn't he? Yeah. How important are the attacking forwards?
Well, if you've got wing-backs, you need them to get up and down. And obviously, you're looking at home to be responsible for getting forward and be more attack-minded. And he's got some pace about him, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs today.
No one likes to join a club and then get injured, especially in pre-season, so it's hard then, isn't it, to go again? And even now, he's probably not 100% match fit.
Well, you're playing catch-up
right
from the start, and you're always behind. It could be, that's probably the third quarter of the season when you feel like you're in sync with everyone, but this is just about getting on the pitch. The fans will see him through it, and yeah, I mean, hopefully, the team isn't great at the moment. He could be the one that sparks them into action.
And you touched on the wing-backs there as well. That's going to be really important in that 3-4-3 formation, isn't it? Or we're waiting to see what the formation is.
Yeah, both ways. I mean, if you're on top, you need them to get in the box and make that extra man, which is what I think we've been lacking. And defensively, they've got to do a job. They can't just think that it's all about getting forward. So I'm looking for... Listen, we don't know if the change of shape or change of personnel is down to injuries, or it's down to Ben making a few changes because he's got, a bit disappointed with it all. But we'll soon find out.
So what are we thinking today then? In terms of no wins in 6.
Got to win.
Yeah. How?
As Malt said, get over the line. But I think, personally, we've got to get people in and around Stockley because he looks so isolated at the moment.
Yeah, he scored just 1 penalty in the last 12 appearances.
Yeah.
Well, the 2 wide players, Sessegnon and Egbo, have to get wide, have to create chances, have to put the ball in the box. Midfielders have to get in pain, has to get in and around Stockley. They have to do that, and it's very simple football. Get it wide, get crosses in, get as far up the pitch as you can, and attempts on goal.
Yeah. Miles Leeburn is the top scorer at the moment. I mean, he started so well, hasn't he? What about those two playing together? They've done it a few times, but not starting. Do you see them being a good partnership between the two, or are they too similar?
No, I don't think they're similar. I think Miles Leeburn is mobile and he can play. He's good touch, good awareness, and if he's in and around Stockley will do the heavy lifting. I think he will add that touch of class, and he's a finisher as well.
Well, this shape gets you 2 forwards if you want it, and it also also gives you the same amount of midfield players as a 4-3-3 what you're playing against. So it's not. I would have thought it was ideal. And you know, we've seen Stockley with Chucks. That didn't seem a problem, did it, when them two played together? So Miles getting in there, young and aggressive, you know, adds a different dimension to the front two.
We just saw Ben Garner shaking hands with Carl Robinson. Carl's side have lost their last 2 league games, scored just 8 league goals. Only Morecambe have scored fewer in League One. And